Welcome to Reddit Confessions.
My dog growled at me, but wagged his tail for the man my wife was secretly sleeping with. My name is Hollis. I'm 33, work as an IT consultant, mostly from home. I like systems that make sense. Quiet routines. Minimal chaos. Janelle says I disappear into my spreadsheets, but I think that's better than disappearing into drama. Janelle, 31, is everything I'm not. Freelance artist. Loud when she laughs, louder when she cries. She floats through moods like weather patterns. Everyone thinks she's magnetic. At home, she's more like a storm I've learned to navigate. We adopted Cooper 6 months ago, a wiry rescue mutt with golden eyes and a nervous bark. He'd finally warmed up to us, especially me. So when he growled at me in the kitchen that Thursday, something shifted. I was peeling an orange when Cooper padded in from the back door. His nails tapped the hardwood floor like a metronome. He paused near the fridge, looked up at me, ears pinned back. Then he growled. Low, uneasy, like I was a stranger in my own home. Hey, I said gently, crouching. What is it, buddy? He backed away. Not far. Just enough to let me know the trust had shifted. I glanced at the clock. For 12 p.m. Bryce had left less than 10 minutes ago. The 4th training session. The longest one yet. I picked up the orange peel, tossed it in the sink, and walked to the window over the kitchen sink. Bryce's truck was still idling at the curb. Big, red, lifted. The kind of vehicle that wanted to be noticed. I watched as Cooper stood near the door, tail wagging slightly, staring at it. Waiting. When Bryce pulled away, Cooper gave a soft whine. Then he turned back to me. The growl was gone now. But so was something else. Something I couldn't name yet. Janelle came in 5 minutes later, smelling like lavender and sweat. Her cheeks were flushed. He really pushed Cooper today, she said, wiping her brow. Lots of leash control, confidence building. I nodded slowly, opening the fridge. He here the whole time? Yeah, she said. A beat too fast. Well, almost. He came early. We started before 3. My eyes stayed on the condiments. I thought you said he had a 3:15 with the Daltons today. She blinked, smiled too quickly. He did. He moved them. For Cooper. Said our case was more urgent. Urgent. I closed the fridge. That was nice of him. Yeah, she said, running a hand through her hair. He's really dedicated. We ate in near silence that night. Cooper didn't beg like he usually did. Just lay near the door, occasionally glancing out the window like he was waiting for someone to return. After Janelle went to bed, I stayed downstairs and pulled up the app on my phone. The one linked to our indoor cameras. Basic home security package. Living room, front entry, kitchen. Nothing fancy. I scrubbed through the last 2 hours of footage. Bryce arriving. Janelle greeting him with a hug. Longer than necessary. They moved to the living room. Leash work. Sit. Stay. Praise. Normal enough. Then the audio picked up something odd. You smell good today, Bryce said. Janelle laughed, too soft for the mic. He reached out. Brushed something off her shoulder. Too gentle. Cooper wagged his tail the whole time. Like this wasn't training. Like this was a reunion. The camera glitched around the 3:38 mark. When it resumed, Bryce was leaving. Shirt slightly wrinkled. Janelle's hair was up now. I paused the footage. Zoomed in. Frame by frame. A mark on her collarbone. Bright red. Fresh. That night, I couldn't sleep. And Cooper didn't come to our bed like he always did. He stayed in the hallway, ears perked, tail still. Guarding something. Not me. That much was clear. I watched the footage again in the morning. Then again before lunch. And at 2:15, when Janelle texted that Bryce was coming for another bonus session that she hadn't told me about, I replied simply, cool. I'll be working late. It was a lie, but not the only one hanging in our air lately. That night, I checked the home security footage again and paused on a frame that made my stomach turn. She said the sessions were 45 minutes. The footage showed him leaving after 2 hours. I hit pause on the video. 5:08 p.m. The sun already dipping behind our neighbor's fence. Janelle was laughing in the frame, her hand on Bryce's chest. Cooper stood in the corner of the living room, tail wagging. When the door closed behind Bryce, she didn't go back to the kitchen. She stood there, breathing, then picked up Cooper's leash, wrapped it around her fingers, and just stared at the front door. The next morning, I tested the waters. Cooper seemed tired after training yesterday. I said over coffee. Janelle didn't look up from her phone. Yeah, they really worked him. Bryce kept him on leash the whole time. Drained him. I sipped. Let the silence stretch. How long was he here again? She looked up now. Just for a second. Usual. 45. Maybe an hour. Why? Just curious, I said. Seemed longer. She smiled thinly. Maybe you lost track. Maybe. That afternoon, I left work early. Parked a few streets down. Walked home, quiet and fast. I slipped through the back gate just in time to see Bryce's truck pulling away. Cooper barked once, then bolted after the truck. He didn't just bark. He jumped into the passenger side door before it even closed. Janelle stood in the driveway, arms crossed, smiling like it was normal. Normal. She didn't see me. I ducked behind the hedge and waited until she went back inside. My heart was thudding so loud I was sure someone would hear it. 10 minutes later, I unlocked the back door like I hadn't just watched my dog choose another man. He brought my wife flowers and said they were for the dog. I opened the door, expecting Bryce to be holding a leash or maybe a training clicker. Instead, he had a bouquet of sunflowers. These are for Cooper, he said, grinning like it was the most natural thing in the world. They say flowers calm dogs, reduce anxiety. Janelle practically melted. That is so sweet. He's been anxious lately. That means a lot. I took the flowers. I'll go put them in water. Cooper can admire them from his bed. Bryce laughed. Too long. Too loud. Right. All for the dog. I placed the vase on the kitchen counter, right beneath the hidden camera I had installed last night. Camera 2. Wider lens. Better angle. I didn't confront. Not yet. Instead, I smiled and said I was heading upstairs to work. I didn't go to my office. I went to the garage, pulled up the new camera feed on my tablet. Audio too. They weren't careful. Not anymore. 10 minutes in, she was sitting on the couch beside him, laughing. Not her polite, wife-to-stranger laugh. Her real one. The one I hadn't heard in months. He touched her knee. She didn't flinch. She said, he still doesn't suspect a thing. Cooper sat between them, tail wagging. I closed the app and opened the other one, GPS tracker. I'd hidden it in her purse. The following Tuesday, it showed them in a parking lot off Route 17. A motel. Room 112. Check-in, 3:47 p.m. Check-out, 5:56 p.m. Exactly the window she said she was at yoga. When she came home, I was cooking dinner. How was yoga? She stretched dramatically, fake sweat on her brow. So good. Brutal, though. My legs are dead. I stirred the pasta. Maybe next week I'll join you. She froze, then forced a laugh. You? Doing yoga? I'd pay to see that. I smiled. I already had. I had receipts. Next step? Surveillance mode. I watched her undress for him, in my living room. The new camera in the lamp corner had night vision. Crisp. Perfect. Heartbreaking. It started as training. Cooper sitting obediently, Bryce giving commands. Then the leash came off. Then her sweater. They didn't even bother to move to the bedroom. I sat in the dark, watching from my car across the street. Every light in our house burned behind blackout curtains. She thought I was in Seattle. Tech conference. Fake badge and all. Booked a refundable ticket. Sent myself fake itinerary emails. Have fun. Learn something. She'd texted with a heart emoji. I learned plenty. I learned that she kissed him first. That he knew where our wine was stored. That Cooper didn't bark when the belt hit the floor. Just laid down and watched. The next morning, I didn't go home. I went to an office building in the city. 6th floor. Small brass plaque. Miller and Klein Investigations. I need help, I said. The PI looked like someone who didn't ask questions until paid. Mid-50s. Faded suit. Sharp eyes. Cheating wife. I nodded. Proof. Hours of it. Video. Audio. GPS logs. He scratched his chin. Then what do you need me for? I need more. More. I want him vetted. I want everything. Where he lives. Who he slept with. His real job history. His certifications. If he's done this to anyone else. The PI smiled. You're not planning to leave her quietly, are you? I didn't answer. He opened his notebook. What's the guy's name? Bryce Maddox. He paused. Scribbled it. You'll want to see this in person, he said a few days later. Meet me tomorrow. Noon. Bring cash. He didn't say why, and I didn't ask. Because I already knew. Whatever he found on Bryce, it was going to change everything. She cried when the dog got sick. But I knew she wasn't crying for the dog. Cooper had thrown up twice in the hallway. Bile? Nothing serious, but enough to make Janelle spiral. She was crouched beside him, rubbing his back, whispering apologies like she was the one who'd poisoned him. "I'm so sorry, baby. I'm so sorry. I should have noticed something was wrong sooner." Her voice cracked. I stood by the wall, arms crossed, watching. "She hasn't even cried like that for her mom," I said. Janelle flinched, looked up at me, mascara already bleeding at the edges. "What the hell is that supposed to mean?" "It means I've seen how you grieve. And this isn't grief. This is guilt." She opened her mouth to speak, closed it. Cooper laid his head on her lap. I knelt down slowly, reached to pet him. He growled. Again. Low. Territorial. Not sick. Not weak. Just loyal to someone else. I pulled my hand back and stood up. "I'll take him to the vet." "No. I want to come. He's my dog too." I nodded. "Fine." At the vet's office, she held him like a lifeline. The vet said it was nothing major. Stress, maybe. Bad food. Emotional distress. "Has he experienced any sudden changes in environment or behavior patterns?" the vet asked. Janelle said no. I stayed silent. Outside in the parking lot, while she was paying the bill, Bryce pulled up. Not in uniform. Not in work mode. Just Bryce. He got out of the truck, walked over, and gave her a look I couldn't unsee. Soft. Familiar. She turned at the sound of his steps and smiled like she'd just found oxygen. I stayed where I was. By the car. Watching. He hugged her. She leaned into it. Then he kissed her. Right there, in public, in the vet's goddamn parking lot. She didn't pull away. Cooper didn't bark. And I didn't move. Not yet. Because that was the moment I knew. Whatever act she was playing at home. It was done. The leash had snapped. And I wasn't the one holding it. She left her dog training notes open on the counter. Only half were about the dog. It was early Saturday. She'd gone to a painting class, her latest excuse to disappear for 3 hours. I stayed behind, sipping black coffee and staring at the yellow notebook she forgot to pack. I recognized it from their sessions. Spiral-bound. Stickers on the front. Paw prints. A heart. A doodle that looked too juvenile to be Janelle's. I flipped it open. The first few pages were what you'd expect. Sit. Stay. Leash technique. Reward schedule. Then I hit a note that made my jaw tighten. B said I looked gorgeous today. B. Bryce. My stomach turned. But I kept flipping. M doesn't even notice when I change my hair. B noticed. Said he liked the red. We almost got caught. I think the neighbor saw us. B said to relax. He's trained harder situations. The ink changed halfway through. Blue to black. Like she ran out of one pen in the middle of a sentence. B says he dreams about me. That he could give me a different life. I laughed, but I thought about it. For too long. Then this. M has no idea. No punctuation. No context. Just that line. I closed the notebook. Gently. Like it might explode. I stood at the sink, staring out the window, gripping the counter until my knuckles ached. Cooper came in from the backyard and sat by the door. I looked at him. You knew, didn't you? He just stared. Not sad. Not angry. Just loyal to someone who wasn't me. I walked over and sat beside him. We're going to fix this, I whispered. He rested his head on my knee. For the first time in weeks. And just like that, I had my first win. The next day, Janelle came home from another yoga class to find the notebook gone. She didn't ask about it, because I think she knew where it was, and who had read it. I left it in her studio the next morning, open to the page that said, M has no idea. When I came home that night, she was in the kitchen, making dinner, stirring quietly. Not a word, not even a glance. But her hand trembled as she set down the spoon. The silence between us was louder than any fight. And I liked it that way. Because for the first time in months, I wasn't behind. I was ahead. I handed Bryce Cooper's favorite toy, and the dog dropped it like it was poison. It was a ragged old plush duck. The kind that squeaked if you pressed just right behind the neck. Cooper carried it room to room, slept with it, guarded it like treasure. Until that day, we were in the backyard. I'd invited Bryce over under the pretense of another training check-in. Said I was worried Cooper was regressing. He's been jumpy around new people, I said. Thought it might help if you did a quick refresh. Bryce showed up 10 minutes early. As always. Eager. Confident. Like the world owed him its full attention. He grinned as he walked in. You're trusting me again? I smiled. Just trying to get back on the same page. For Cooper's sake. I tossed him the toy. Want to start with this? It's his favorite. Bryce caught it. Held it up. Squeezed the neck. Squeak. Cooper stared. Then took a step back. And another. He didn't bark. He didn't growl. He just turned and walked away. Left his duck in Bryce's hand like it didn't matter anymore. Huh, Bryce said. That's weird. He used to. Yeah, I cut in. Used to. We ran through a few commands. Sit. Stay. Come. Cooper obeyed. But only when I gave the order. Not Bryce. Not once. After 15 minutes, I clapped. Thanks, man. Think we're good. Just needed to see it. Bryce looked thrown. Rattled. Janelle came outside with lemonade. Everything okay? I smiled. Perfect. She tried to meet my eyes. I didn't give her the satisfaction. Later that night, I tried something else. I hugged Janelle in the kitchen. A long, firm hug from behind. The kind I used to give her when we still made sense. Cooper growled. A deep, rumbling warning. Janelle stiffened. He's just tense, she said. I let go. An hour later, I peeked into the hallway. Janelle was kneeling, whispering to Cooper. Soft voice. Gentle strokes. He didn't growl at her. Didn't move away. Just looked at her with those golden eyes and rested his head in her lap. A test passed. By her. The next day, I reviewed old footage again. All of it. From the very first session. What I missed the first time was subtle. Patterns. Janelle only ever initiated affection when Cooper was out of the room. When the door was closed. When the blinds were down. But once, she kissed Bryce. And Cooper was in the room. And he didn't growl. He wagged his tail. Like the betrayal was part of his new training. She came home screaming. Where's the dog? I was on the couch, reading. Calm. Maybe too calm. I thought he was with you. I said without looking up. Janelle rushed through the house. Kitchen, living room, backyard. Her voice getting louder, more frantic. Cooper. Cooper, come here, boy. Nothing. She turned to me, panic blooming. Mark. He's not here. The gate's closed. He wouldn't just run off. I set the book down. Maybe he finally got tired of being in the middle. What the hell does that mean? I stood. It means maybe he realized loyalty doesn't mean much around here. Her face cracked for a second. Then she spun and ran outside again. I followed slowly, letting her pace the yard like a desperate mother in a missing child report. She grabbed her phone, started calling neighbors, checking the usual corners. I leaned against the fence. You think someone took him? She asked, voice shaking. I shrugged. Could be. In truth, he was fine. Safe. Curled up on a blanket in my coworker's quiet apartment across town. I dropped him off that morning before she even woke up. Gave strict instructions. No tags. No photos. Just keep him loved and gone. Because I needed silence. I needed space. And I needed her to unravel. By dinner, she was sobbing. Pacing. He's scared of traffic, she cried. He hates the sound of motorcycles. What if? You seemed fine letting him jump into Bryce's truck every week, I said flatly. She froze. The words hung between us like a gunshot. I don't know what you think you saw. I didn't see, I said. I recorded. The blood drained from her face. I didn't push further. Not yet. That night, she curled up on the couch, phone in hand, eyes red and swollen. She texted Bryce 5 times. Cooper's gone. I don't know what to do. He's not answering commands. He's just gone. Please help me. I'm losing it. He showed up an hour later. I heard the knock. Let him in. He acted surprised. Concerned. I'll help look, he said. He knows my scent. He might come to me. I nodded. Sure. You two go ahead. I'm just going to rest. He looked thrown. You're not coming? No. I think he'll find who he wants. They left. Flashlights. Voices calling out into the dark. By the time they came back, empty-handed, she looked destroyed. He rubbed her back. She let him. And when he kissed her forehead, she didn't resist. When they walked upstairs together, I didn't stop them. Because I needed this to happen. Because I had 3 cameras rolling. Because nothing exposes guilt like thinking no one's watching. Let's do a check-in session with Bryce, I suggested. For Cooper's sake. Janelle was mid-sip on her coffee. She paused, mug halfway to her lips. I thought you said you didn't trust him anymore. I smiled. I've been thinking maybe I overreacted. Cooper's disappearance shook me up. She narrowed her eyes, searching my face, trying to decide if I meant it. Okay, she said slowly. I mean, it might help. Closure, or whatever. Exactly, I said. Let's film it too. For reference. You know, in case we get another dog later. She hesitated. Film it. Yeah. All 3 of us in the living room. Final session. Documenting Cooper's training arc. She laughed nervously. That's weirdly sentimental for you. I shrugged. Guess I'm just trying to make sense of things. She texted him that afternoon. He agreed. Too fast. I spent the next day setting everything up. Cameras in the bookshelf, under the TV stand. Even one clipped to a faux air vent. Audio. Crystal clear. I had motion alerts programmed to ping my phone. This wasn't just for me anymore. This was documentation. This was evidence. That evening, Bryce showed up in his usual too-tight Henley, flashing that toothpaste commercial grin. Glad you reached out, he said, shaking my hand. I let my grip linger. Just enough. Let's give Cooper a proper goodbye, I said. Maybe he'll come back if he sees things are okay again. Janelle gave a nervous laugh. I hope so. We sat. I hit record casually on the tablet in front of me. So, Bryce began, I've been thinking, maybe he ran because of stress. Dogs can sense tension in a home. Yeah, I said slowly. That tracks. He gestured to Janelle. I mean, you've been great with him, but maybe the environment got too heavy. She nodded, eyes lowered. I sipped my water. So what would you suggest if we had him back? Start fresh, Bryce said. New routines. Clean slate. Pretend nothing ever happened? I asked. He blinked. Well, not pretend. Just focus on the now. Janelle cleared her throat. Do we need to pretend in front of him? Her voice was soft. Loaded. Bryce looked at her. I looked at them both. The camera blinked red, recording everything. And I knew. They thought this was their final act. But it was only the dress rehearsal. The real show was about to start. Bring him over, I said. I want to thank him in person. Janelle froze. Her fork halfway to her mouth. You do? I nodded. Yeah. I've been thinking about everything. I think I misjudged the guy. Her eyes flicked toward the hallway, where the dog bed still sat untouched. Closure, I added. Let's give him a proper thank you. For all the help he gave us. She tried to smile, but her mouth couldn't hold it. Bryce arrived Saturday at noon. Right on time. Always punctual, always smug. He brought a bottle of wine. The one Janelle used to say was too expensive for weekday drinking. He handed it to me. Figured we could celebrate. New beginnings. I took it without a word. Come in. He stepped inside like he owned the place. Looked around. Smiled at the sunlight flooding through the windows. Nice place, he said. Never seen it in daylight. I didn't react. Just led him into the kitchen. Janelle was already there, pretending to slice cheese for some kind of charcuterie spread. The knife shook slightly in her hand. I grabbed 3 glasses. Poured the wine. We clinked. To the future, Bryce said. To truth, I corrected. We sat down. Small talk, strained. Weather. Traffic. Cooper's disappearance. Still no sign. Bryce asked. No, I said. But I've got a feeling he'll show up when it matters. Janelle looked away. Bryce laughed. He always did have good timing. The cameras were rolling. They didn't know which ones. Or how many. After 30 minutes, I stood. Well, I said, since we're all here, why don't we review Cooper's training together? Bryce blinked. What? I nodded toward the living room. I've got footage. From start to finish. Thought it'd be good to see his progress. Janelle swallowed hard. Bryce hesitated. You recorded everything? I smiled. Just for training purposes, of course. I picked up the remote. Pressed play. The screen lit up. And the first video loaded. Their first kiss. Their second. The night Cooper barked. Not at them, but at me. Janelle gasped. Bryce stood up fast. What the hell is this? I paused the video. Truth, I said again. You brought wine. I brought receipts. Let's review Cooper's progress together, I said, queuing up the footage. The screen flickered to life. A timestamp in the corner, 2 months ago. Cooper wagging his tail. Bryce reaching out. Janelle laughing. Too close, too familiar. Bryce shifted in his seat. This was just training, I asked. The next clip loaded automatically. A kiss. Her hands in his hair. The leash on the floor. Janelle gasped. You recorded us? Bryce stood up. This is entrapment. I leaned back, calm. No, this is documentation. You both trained the dog. I just made sure to train the cameras, too. The audio kicked in next. Em has no idea. Janelle turned white. She looked at me, then at the paused screen. Mark, she whispered. I can explain. I raised my hand. Don't. You already did. I have it all. Every whisper, every excuse. Every training session. Bryce moved toward the door. I clicked my phone. The door locked. He froze. You're crazy. No, I said. You're sloppy. The next video showed Bryce entering the house on a day Janelle said she was alone. Then another clip, her texting him under the dinner table while I sat beside her. Every lie had a file name. Every betrayal had a timestamp. Janelle sat down slowly, her hands shaking. Why? She choked out. Because I stopped guessing, I said, and started recording. Bryce looked toward the hallway. I'm leaving. Not yet, I said. Someone's on their way. You'll want to stay for that. His eyes narrowed. Who? The doorbell rang. I stood up, walked over, and opened it. The private investigator stepped inside. Suit. Briefcase. Calm like a storm before it hits. Mr. Maddox, he said, pulling out a folder. We need to talk. Bryce looked at Janelle, then at me. Don't look at her, I said. She's not getting you out of this. You recorded us, she shrieked. You trained me better than the dog. The PI laid the folder on the coffee table like a coffin lid. Mr. Maddox, he said, you've been sloppy. Bryce scoffed, arms crossed. You have nothing on me. The PI opened the folder. Multiple complaints. Suspicious certifications. 2 other women with similar patterns. Private sessions, emotional manipulation, sexual misconduct. Janelle's head whipped toward him. What? Bryce stayed still. Is that true? She asked, voice cracking. He didn't answer. Tell me that's not true. Still silence. She stepped back, like she was seeing him for the first time. I sat down slowly, watching it all. My hands steady, my breath even. Why, Janelle? I asked. Why him? She opened her mouth, closed it. Tears welled, but they didn't fall. You weren't here, she whispered. I was working, I snapped. You were absent. Cold. Predictable. He made me feel useful. I said. Special? Alive? She flinched. I gave you stability, I said. You turned it into suffocation. The PI kept flipping pages. He's done this before. Left trails. Just never met someone with the tools to track it. Bryce stared at me. You won't get away with this. I smiled. Already did. He lunged forward, but the PI stepped in. Don't, he said flatly. You're being recorded. Still. Janelle sat down, finally broken. She looked at me with red, raw eyes. I didn't mean for it to get this far. It always gets this far, I said. People like you just think you'll never get caught. She covered her face. Bryce stood near the door, seething. The PI made a call. Yeah, we're ready. You can come in. 2 more men entered. Suits. Badges. Mr. Maddox, we have a few questions for you regarding your business practices. He turned to Janelle one last time. You said you'd protect me. She didn't speak, because the truth had burned through every lie. And all that remained was ash. Everything you said was recorded, including the part about sneaking in while he worked. The officer's voice was calm. Clinical. Bryce didn't say a word. Not when they cuffed him. Not when they read the rights. He just stared at me like he wanted to burn through me. You'll regret this, he hissed as they let him out. I didn't flinch. Already don't. The door shut behind him. Silence. Janelle still sat on the edge of the couch. Pale. Defeated. She looked up at me slowly. Is this it? I sat across from her. You tell me. I never wanted it to explode like this. No one does. But fire spreads. I pulled a flash drive from my pocket. Set it on the table. What's that? Everything. Copies of the videos. The notebook scans. The GPS logs. The texts. Her lips trembled. Why would you give that to me? I'm not. I'm giving it to your sister. She looked up, panicked. She's the only one who actually watches Cooper when she visits. I added. She deserves to know who she's defending at Thanksgiving. Her voice cracked. You're not serious. I leaned in. You shattered our life in private. I'm finishing it in public. She stood up, suddenly angry. You're humiliating me. No, I said calmly. You did that all by yourself. I'm just showing the footage. That night, I emailed Bryce's client list. Not a message, not a threat, just a link. The video played automatically. Every click was another nail in his career. By morning, 2 clients had posted Yelp reviews. By afternoon, 5 more. Unprofessional. Predatory. Disgusting. His website was down by midnight. I didn't gloat. I just watched. Janelle's parents called 2 days later. We had no idea, her mother whispered. Is it true? I sent them the same link. No more explaining. Let the truth speak for itself. When I came home the next day, her suitcase was by the door. She didn't say goodbye. Didn't cry. Just walked out. The house was quiet after. Peaceful. Except for one sound. A scratch at the back door. I opened it. Cooper. Muddy paws. Wagging tail. Tongue lolling like he'd been running for hours. He found his way home. Because he knew where loyalty lived. I emailed the footage to every client on Bryce's website. The full compilation. Every lie. Every touch. Every look that wasn't about the dog. I didn't watermark it. Didn't narrate. Didn't spin it. Just facts. Just footage. The internet did the rest. Comments flooded in. Shares. Screenshots. Reviews. Within 24 hours, his business license was under review. 2 days later, his Yelp page vanished. By the end of the week, his name was trending for all the wrong reasons. Hashtag Bryce the Dog Guy. Hashtag untrained and unhinged. He deleted his social media. Filed a complaint. Tried to play the victim. But people know the sound of guilt. And they can smell bullshit faster than a dog ever could. Janelle's family went silent. Her sister blocked her. Her dad emailed me to say, "You deserved better." I didn't reply. I was too busy walking Cooper. It felt good again. Clean. Quiet. He stayed close to my side now. Like he understood things had been rebalanced. The house stayed quiet for days. Then one night, a car pulled into the driveway. She got out. No suitcase. No apology. Just her. She didn't knock. Just stood there, like memory trying to become present. I opened the door. She looked up. I just wanted to see him. Cooper walked forward, sniffed her hand, then turned around, and walked back to me. She didn't cry, didn't speak, just nodded once and walked away. That night, I poured a glass of wine, sat in the silence. Cooper curled up at my feet. It was over. Not clean, not perfect, but done. Cooper curled up next to me like he never left. He knew who was home. I didn't speak much those first few days. Didn't need to. The silence said everything. No more hiding phones. No more whispered lies. No more watching my own home like a stranger. Just me, the quiet, and the sound of Cooper's soft snoring at night. I took down the hidden cameras, wiped the hard drives, deleted the tracking apps. The surveillance era was over. And with it, the need to second-guess every breath in my house. I started cooking again. Real meals. Music on low. Doors open. Windows wide. Cooper followed me room to room. Never barking. Never growling. Just there. Present. One morning, I reached for my keys and stopped. The old set. Still had Janelle's copy on the ring. I took it off. Held it in my hand for a long time. It felt heavier than it should have. Then I tossed it in the drawer. Drove to the hardware store. Got new locks. Installed them myself. Door by door. When I was done, I stood in the doorway, Cooper by my side. The house was still. Clean. Mine. He nudged my hand gently. Looked up. We didn't need words. We'd both seen enough. The lock clicked shut. And for the first time in a long time, it felt like peace.